Is this thing on?
Welcome back to another episode of Spooled Life Live. I'm your guest, Ram Garcia, and we're in here in beautiful Corpus Christi, Texas. It's hot. It's spring break. The roads are crowded. Don't even think about going to the island because you'll be spending quite a few minutes
on that bridge.
On the JFK, right? We're the home of beautiful Selena statue, Whataburger.
Roy's Bait and Tackle.
There you go. Roy's Bait and Tackle.
Breakaway Tackle.
Real sportswear. Breakaway Tackle. I didn't want to say too much. Right?
Oh, there's a lot going on in town.
I wanted to make it big. I want
okay,
fireworks
this town's
to come
hot,
out.
brother.
when I say your name, the fireworks are going to come out.
Okay, let's do it.
And a lot of good things are coming out of Corpus Christi. There's the Cole Park Pier. If you haven't been to Corpus Christi, cruise in to Corpus Christi. Check it out. There's a lot of cool things to do, a lot of cool places to check out and stuff. But the most important thing coming out of Corpus Christi is Spooled Life Live. All right. And the members. Without the members, we wouldn't be able to do anything like this. So I got none other than Mr. Nick Meyer from Breakaway Tackle.
That's me.
In the Spooled Life Live studio. And how are you, man?
I'm great. I've been at a casting tournament down in Kingsville, and we've got casters that come in from all over the U.S. We have them from Norfolk, Virginia, New Jersey. There's casters from everywhere, and I mean there's high-quality casting. We're throwing distances. Well, maybe I'll let you people guess what sort of distances we're able to throw. 5 ounces sinker, a 5-ounce sinker, using a 14-foot rod. So let's see what you come up with, and I'll tell you if any of you are near.
There you go. Tell us the casting distance.
Let them guess.
Average, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I want to know.
Oh, you want it spot on.
Yeah, come on.
All right. Start throwing some numbers out, guys.
But anyhow, so, we're lucky to be here. The other beautiful thing about Corpus Christi, and one of the things that holds me here, is we've got a barrier island out there, 3,000 years old. That happens to be the longest barrier island in the U.S. undeveloped. Very worth protecting, looking after. It produces some of the best fishing you can imagine. Everything from hammerhead sharks all the way down to like pompano and whiting. It's just a smorgasbord of quality fish and a great place to be.
You are pretty avid in the surf side of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Surf fishing.
Right. Well, I grew up fishing the surf, and I came to the U.S. I literally had to learn to use a small rod. I was absolutely useless at it, but I got one and I practiced every day casting until I could put it where I wanted it. And so then I started fishing the bays up in Rockport. One of my favorite areas used to be Cedar Bayou. That was before the hurricane took it out initially. I used to go up there. I was up there so often that who's the gentleman that owns that island? I've forgotten the name of them. Bass Brothers. Their manager used to come and pick me up, and he would drive me up to the wreck. There used to be an old shipwreck on the beach there, and I would load up on trout, and I did that for many a day. I had an old crab boat. When I got here, I brought it off a guy for like $300. Had a big 6-cylinder engine in it. I never got stuck. I'd go right across the bays by myself, all the way into Cedar Bayou, park it up, go fish, load up, and then go back to the hotel that I brought. Anyhow, the fishing was so good. I thought, why does everyone think it's a complex issue? The thing that used to be the key then used to be the old trout rig with the old rubber lure, and it was nothing, real basic, but you could go out to the mouth of that Cedar Bayou and load up on trout. Now, one day I got there and I learned a big lesson. There was no birds. And I thought, that's strange. Every time I've been here before, this point was covered in birds. That's rule 1. No birds, no critters, no fish.
Right.
As simple as that. You need them
and
critters.
you would, if you were there was no birds, would you even
Not now, I
Give it a
wouldn't.
shot, or
It's like that's one of the main signs. Like I
one of
look
the
for.
indicator?
I look for predictable bait holding areas, and there's indicators. All right. For example, birds work in a certain area is always good. If you're good at reading the water, that's looking for benches, looking how the waves break. You can almost detect where the fish will predictably be. It's like in this shop, if I was catching humans, right, the best place for me to catch them would be the door as they walk out. And it's the same fishing. You got to look.
It wouldn't be down the breakaway tackle aisle, right?
That's it. Yeah. But I mean, try and figure out where they are. That's the key. And then
Right.
because we can long cast, I mean, we can put baits at 200 yards, 150 to 200 yards. We can reach out to where we think that area is. That's the key to the game.
Right. I've got some numbers here.
Mm-hmm.
We got 150
Is that feet?
yards,
Okay.
150 yards.
Yeah, not a bad guess.
690 yards,
Not a bad guess.
340 feet,
No. Go on.
310,
Okay.
and that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Are we close? Are we hot? Or are we cold?
You're getting, it's not good. But that 690, what's funny about it is when I was practicing on a consistent level to compete at tournaments, I would practice every day. And my average cast would be about 700 to 750 foot with 5 ounces. Now I'm 70 years old. My casting distance is like 690, 680.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so, you lose hand speed, I believe, or I just got lazy. But the distances they were getting as I left the field this morning, and I'll be going back to do another day tomorrow, was 820 feet.
Wow.
So that's not bad, is it?
That's
with,
just weight.
That's just with a sinker, a streamline sinker. You've got a shock leader. You've got reels that run so fast, if I flipped it, it would spin for like 3 minutes in front of you. And so what we do is you've got to learn to control that. You've got to learn to tune your reels, and you need everything working. You need technique, good equipment, the right amount of sinker weight, shock leaders. It's a whole game. And it's the same when you're fishing. It's not just one thing. You've got to balance everything out. Your technique has got to match the rod that you're using. Species specification, critical. Know what you're going to target when you're going out there, and use the equipment to target that. Like jackfish are coming in at the minute. When you see martins, purple mines turning up, 1 or 2 just coming in, you know them jackfish are going to be out there at MGs. In a couple of days, they'll be running down that beach, chasing bait. They're like a group of Hell's Angels. They'll come flying into the gut. They'll blow it all up. There'll be mullet busting everywhere. You sling a spoon past them, you need to get in front of them because they're going to be moving maybe 10 to 15 miles an hour, right? Run in front of them, get in front, stop, get out the truck, cast. As they're coming up, start cranking, baby. You'll have one on, I guarantee it.
With a spoon.
Spoon, top water plug, big top water plugs. We throw big 3-ounce plugs. It's one of my favorite ways to fish. In fact, every year I go down to El Salvador. People used to be so scared of going there. Well, I went down there and did a seminar, and I got in with the president, and he was a real nice guy. He used to let me go on his island, the last coconut, and we'd stay there. And I could fish, and there used to be these monster snook right in the surf in front of us. I'd get them with spoons. But what I was really targeting was rooster fish, and they're like a jackfish, same sort of size, but with a sail on their back. And they're so aggressive. And what you do is you go along the beach, you're looking, you'll see them coming through the waves, you fling that plug out, and you crank it in, and you need a good spinning reel that'll bring in like 50 inches every crank. You get that going, that thing's going to hit that flat out. Most exciting fishing you can do.
Going back to the casting tournaments, those are bait casting tournaments, right?
No, they're spinning. Funny you should ask. Akuma they have brought out this long casting spool reel, and it's really reasonable price, and I know Roy's has got them. And it costs about $120. It's an Series 8 reel, but there's a guy there using it today, and he just set a US record with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so today with spinning
cool.
reels. And we've got a thing called a cannon that locks the line on when you're using braid, because you've got to be really careful. That braid can cut your finger off, especially if you're power casting, like a big rod.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that braid will cut your finger. So we use a cannon, big Akuma reel, braid, but in the tournament they're using mono, and it's a very specific size, and so he can get away with the glove if he wants.
These guys that are casting,
I'm gonna have a sip. All right?
go for it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Let's sip to. You can drink that. As
Okay,
you want
let's
to.
do cheers.
Yeah, let's do that.
Should we tell them why I'm not drinking what I would really like to drink?
Here in a second. We are. But we're gonna drink to today's tournament winners.
Yes,
Right.
I'm with you.
Today's tournament
good to
winners.
them.
This one's for y'all.
One of the casters that's there is Big Lou McEachin. He's the caster that threw a 5-ounce sinker over the Houston Astrodome. You can go on YouTube and see that.
When these guys cast, I'm picturing the Olympics, right? When these guys cast, is there somebody over there on the other end?
You're attached by the line.
Right.
So the line, the sinker buries in the ground. Then you all walk out to your sinker and put a flag, and then they measure it with laser.
Okay.
So it's dead on. I mean, it's dead accurate.
Right. So they're not waiting over there.
No.
Obviously.
No.
Right.
No. It's on a big field. That Kingsville, man, they're just the best. They cut that field for us. They've done it for like 20 years, and it's immaculate. We go over there and have the tournaments. They're just real nice people, and they've been very supportive to the tournament.
It's got to be a pretty big field, right?
Oh, yeah. You can have a break off that'll go half a mile. So there's a story in one of the magazines. Someone found a sinker in their roof.
Oh, wow.
In Delaware. They'd been up there the guy had broke one off. It'd gone off and broke and come down through the person's room, so he thought, I better get out there, and drove off. They put a big article in Reader's Digest how this tornado had picked this sinker up and dropped it on
really?
house.
Man, I don't know what's worse during New Year's Day or 4th of July when everybody goes outside and starts firing their guns outside to the outside of the city limits and stuff.
Right.
What's worse, that or a casting
if a
tournament
sinker
gone wrong?
Oh, it'd kill
Right.
you. Yeah. That sinker's
I guess
doing
both of them
200
would, right?
miles an hour. That reminds me, I've got one of our customers is a bone surgeon down in the valley, and on New Year's, this is gospel truth, he sleeps with a helmet on, because he said these bullets coming down go right through the roof and they'll kill you.
Yeah.
So he actually sleep. I thought it was hilariously funny.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there you go.
If y'all are just tuning in, we're here in beautiful Corpus Christi, here at the Roy's Bait and Tackle Studio. We're looking good. I'm looking good. My guest is looking good as well, right? But I'm looking good in real sportswear. You know, you can find it here at Roy's Bait and Tackle. We got all of them. If you all haven't noticed, I'm wearing the new camo line, right? I got one more to wear, and I've worn them all. So the next show, I'm going to give away one of your choice, of your size. Well, depending on what we have on the shelf, right, at the time. We're also drinking Carbach Brewery, the most refreshing light circus hazy IPA, right? That's the new one. It's good. It's citrusy. I'm getting like a citrusy, refreshing, kind of like a grapefruity goodness out of this stuff. You know what I mean?
You're going to start me drinking.
Right, right. You're about to open yours up. Cruise into the show. If y'all are local, cruise into the show, and you're more than welcome to have a hazy IPA with me and Mr. Nick here. If y'all have questions for Mr. Nick, shoot them in there. What's up, Eric? Miss Camille is on. Sergio, Oscar, Cliff Nagel. Those are some good numbers, but we still haven't got it a dead on number, right? Obviously. We got a couple giveaways. Most of y'all entered the giveaway that we had on the Facebook Live group. I got all y'all's names in this cap right here. So one person's gonna win here in a bit, and I got another one that's gonna come. You know, we're here at the Spoiled Life Live. We love to give away stuff. We love to give back to the members that are on, right? And you know, we love trivia, right? Show trivia. So take notes. You know, it's coming. Most of all the questions are the same, so you know that's kind of like an indicator in itself on what question I'm gonna ask. But let's continue. Breakaway tackle. Let's talk a little bit about breakaway tackle. Everybody knows the logo, right? If you see the logo, you're like, okay, this is some good stuff here. What created it? We know you love surf fishing.
The original concept, right? There was Norman Bickers, very good businessman, but started off with nothing. Literally digging bait, lugworm, all right? But he got so good at it, he started earning big money. Then there's this other guy called Nigel Forrest, who was like an engineer, like a genius. That guy threw more stuff in the trash can yet to be invented than you can imagine. I could go to him with a problem, and he would come up with an answer. He was that good. The two of them got together. Nigel was, at that particular time, the UK casting champion. And he was casting about 680 foot at the time, which was amazing. They used to have some pretty serious fishing tournaments in the UK, and he could always put the sinkers out pretty far, but you lose bite contact, and when you're working at that distance, you need rigs that are going to self-set. So he invented the first Sputnik sinker with the rotating wires. That was Nigel Forrest. He got the patent on it, and then when I come to America, I could see all these people copying his stuff, and now it's become the norm. Whenever we bring stuff out, you'll see a load of manufacturers copying us. It's just the way it is. And you can spend your whole life fighting them, but it's a waste of time. So you've got to be like the first Coca-Cola. So anyhow, it was Nigel Forrest and Norman got together, formed Breakaway UK with the sinker. Then he invented the impact shield, which was a revolutionary step forward. If you're trying to cast extreme distances, the impact shield clips the bait behind the sinker, tight behind the sinker. So the aerodynamics are instantly improved. The bait does not do this as it's being cast. It's behind the sinker, gives you 1/3 increase in distance. That was the real step forward for Breakaway. It started accelerating forward. Then I come to America, I could see that not many people were using our sort of style of fishing, so I started to bring it here. Now, good bit of advice for any of you that want to get into business on anything. A good idea isn't a good idea till you get it in a packet and it's on the shelf and someone's buying it. Then it's a good idea. Coming up with a scheme or whatever doesn't mean anything. Get it in the packet, sell it. Now, if you're selling uniqueness, which we were, like clip down rigs and things, there's an education curve that goes with it, which can be expensive and a pain in the ass. If you're making something, like if you're copying something that someone is making, but you're making it better or cheaper, it's dead easy. The knowledge is already there on how to use that system. But our stuff is unique and it's a game changer. So we've been involved in a lot of teaching that goes along with it.
The rods, what's a entry? I want to say entry level, but what's a, you know, there's a lot of them. You know,
here's
what
I do. Like funny one. People walk in my shop and they'll go, if I buy that rod, how far will I be able to cast? Right? That's like going in to academy, asking the guy, if I buy them trainers, how high can I jump? Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what I do is I ask, there's questions I ask. How big is the person? Is there any physical problems? How strong are they? Where do they want to fish? Are they fishing jetties? Are they going to fish beach, or are they fishing the bay? That's what determines what rod I'm putting them down. If it's out and out beach fishing, that means you're going to spike the rod, you're going to cast out, spike the rod, so you're throwing as far as you can. Then I take the person's size, and normally I just give them some instruction on how to improve their casting distance. Most people, when they cast, they punch the rod. All right? The real key to distance is this arm locked and pull against it. So you use this as a fulcrum point where the reel is. You pull against it. That's what gives you tip speed. That's what gives you distance.
I'm wondering. I want to try that because I'm pretty damn strong.
That's what you want.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, big strong guys. They should have a 15-foot rod. You've got. I mean, you're an 800-foot caster.
You think so?
I know it.
Well, I'm
right.
I'm going to put them Kingsville people to the test.
You got to
you
get
know
it
what I mean?
down. Yeah, you're not going to do it straight away. It's something you're going to build to. But
it's about getting the package and selling it. I got to get in there and cast it still.
That's
right?
correct. I was speaking to a good friend of ours. I remember when there was this little shop here, right? Maybe back in '94, Roger Mortimer and me turned up, and we were doing casting out the back here in the field with Rocky, and there used to be a house way over the back there, and Roger was showing them how to cast out the end of that field.
Mm-hmm.
But that was back there in '94. That's when we first met Roy and Rocky together. Was here then.
Mm-hmm.
And now I come in this shop. It's like, honestly, it's like a boat show. It's honestly the best. I travel all over Texas. I travel all over the country, Florida, all the way up the East Coast to Boston, doing seminars and things. And I can promise you, this shop is as good as it gets. Mm-hmm. You can come in here. I buy my waders here every year religiously. I love the place.
Right.
And they support me and always have done.
Yeah, it's something to check out. Even if, I mean, there's a lot of people that go to Bass Pro. There's a lot of people that go to Cabela's just to look, right?
They're wasting their time. Get your looking done here. I promise you.
Yeah, you could come in here and just look.
And not only that, you've got advice.
The
there's people that know what they're talking about.
Right.
That in itself is worth gold. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're in this area, you've got to stop by this shop because it's amazing.
The whole line of Breakaway is here as well, right?
Everything.
Breakaway tackle. Anything you got in the shop, we got it here, right?
Yeah, it's here. Yeah, they've got it and they know what it's about as well. And I'll tell you what was a big game changer this year was the pompano fishery on the beach. It went ballistic. I mean, it was nothing to go out there on a Wednesday and there would be a truck every 100 yards down that beach. And they were filling their ice chests up with pompano. Now, pompano is the best eating fish that comes out of that Gulf, in my opinion. Well, there is one more, but it's a bit dangerous. The other one, which totally out the blue, never seen them before on our beach, smooth skin puffer. Very poisonous. They've got the same toxicity as, I don't know, they say it's 1,200 times more potent than cyanide.
Oh, wow.
If you get in the guts, right. But if you don't get in the guts, if you just cut that back strap out nice and clean, don't touch the gut section, that's some of the best eating meat you'll ever put in your mouth.
You've eaten one?
Hell yeah.
From
and
here?
I'm still here.
Oh, yeah?
I did a big thing on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and see it. Me cleaning and eating the puffer and still living.
Right. For now.
Yeah.
Right.
That was yesterday.
Man, that was just a couple of minutes ago.
No, it's good. It's some of the best eating you'll get. So.
What is one of the I was gonna do this towards the end of the show, but while we're here, what is one of the best catches that you've done out of here, out of our coast?
Out of our coast?
Memorable
I mean,
catches. They're all best.
I've
right?
had
but
like
memorable.
6-foot bull sharks on small casting rods. I only fish it if I can cast it, and I mean that's my rule. If
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't kayak baits out?
No.
You don't do
if
none
I
of that?
can't throw it, then I ain't interested.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's just the rule I live by.
Right.
Right. So, like a 6-foot bull shark on a casting rod, that gives you a good fight. if I was going to say, if someone wanted a real good buzz on a cast rod, jackfish have got to be some of the best fun out there, because there's a whole trick to running in front of them, getting in front of them, and all that. And it's just so exciting. Like, it's all bubbly and everything. It's great. Jackfish, I love fighting them.
Right. When y'all are out there, we see it often. I see it often. You know, you do your live little videos. You know, this is the surf conditions. You know, this is what we're catching. You know, we're out to catch some pompano. But you also mentioned the wildlife, like the birds. And the other day I heard you ask your wife to come out of the truck and take a picture of that bird for me and stuff.
We are fanatical bird watchers.
Oh, yeah?
Absolute fanatical. I mean, this time of year when the warblers are coming in and everything. But the game is, it's all connected. Like, certain birds turn up, certain fish will be right behind them. Certain plants will start growing on the dune line. It's all connected. So having a knowledge just generally of nature. Keep your eye. They say if you look close at nature, you see your God looking back at you, and it's true.
Right.
Yeah.
The times you've been out there, days, right?
Oh, God.
Sometimes days, sometimes.
We used to have a group, well known, famous, called the Frog Hunters, right? Frog Hunters were named after Billy Sander, famous guy, all right? Good guy, good mate of mine. Never thought he was at the time, but we used to go bird watching. We'd fish I fished with him a couple of times. We'd argue once a year. We'd always, every year. My name was so bad here at one point. I took David Sykes trout fishing. I'll never forget it. And we stopped at 19 holes in the surf, and we caught fish in every hole. And David wrote the story. Billy Sandifer was pissed with me for showing him techniques. Now, that's how the game has changed, because back in like the early 2000s, 90s, you couldn't get any information. That everything was top secret.
Right.
Like, Billy would be coming off the beach, he wouldn't even look at you.
Oh, yeah?
No, they wouldn't tell you a thing.
Well, there wasn't media.
No, that's
there
right.
was no internet.
And so the whole game has changed.
Internet, you know?
And so, like, when I started telling people, like, this is how we catch fish and this is what we're doing, they didn't like it. They threatened to write my name on the buoys, and that was supposed to be a big insult. I just wanted them to get the spelling right. What did Marilyn Monroe say? Any publicity is good, baby.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So
he didn't want to make any eye contact. If
No,
he made eye
no,
contact,
no.
he'd possibly start to talk to you.
He didn't want to know. That was the rule. Just no one said anything. But there was a closeness between me and him that was quite special. I mean, he would take me bird watching. We'd go together with the wife, and he really knew his stuff. He knew the scientific names for them and everything.
Oh, wow.
And he would show me stuff. And when you look at Billy, you would not think that all that knowledge is in that head.
Right.
Right? He was a smart sucker, mate. And I'm just blessed that I spent time with him.
Right.
Yeah, I really am.
Was he a caster as well?
He was
Like
a
just strictly casting?
he was a good backcaster. He developed his own casting technique for putting like a pound of lead and half a stingray like 50, 60 yards.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he could bang it out there. And just a tough old boy, you know. He was tough, and there was many tough men down there. So the group was named Frog Hunters after the book called Cannery Row. And there was this group of people at Cannery Row. A doctor was going on holiday, and he left his house for these people to look after and to catch frogs for him so he could dissect them. This is in Cannery Row. Well, they all go out and get the frogs. Then they decide to have a party. They all get drunk, and all the frogs disappear. So Billy always used to call us the Frog Hunters. And on a Friday night, this went on maybe for 4 to 5 years. On a Friday night, you could pull on that beach when it was dark at about 8 or 9 o'clock. You'd look hard south. You'd see a big glow in the sky. All right, that glow in the sky was a camp for the frog hunters, and it would be south of the 50. And that went on consistent. We were there every weekend, and it grew. It got really big, and it got really dangerous. Right? That in the end we stopped doing it. But like when Hurricane Brett comes through and the cuts come through the beach, man, we were swimming across the cuts. We were catching redfish back in the cuts. There was people shooting guns at everyone. It was crazy but wonderful, and I love that. Mm-hmm. That was good fun.
Right?
And I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly. The puffer fish ain't have nothing on them old days. No, right?
They were good fun days. They really were.
When I think of Billy Sandifer, I think of the beach cleanups,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do you do any of those as far as
I used to.
with Breakaway?
I used to do them. I was very much involved with them. Had meetings at the shop. But I've stopped doing them. And the reason I've stopped doing them is I don't like the way the superintendent is running that beach. I feel we're being... Every time I go there now, I feel like I'm going to a party that I'm not invited to. There are more restrictions. Yarborough Pass consistently closed. 15 miles an hour speed limits from now all the way through to September. When they first implemented that 15 mile an hour speed limit to protect turtles, which was bullshit, they had to do an environmental impact study, and it was, I think it was from April through to the beginning of September. Well, now he's extended it. 15 miles an hour. That's 60 miles long, that beach. And they'll write you a ticket in a New York second. So no, I don't do the beach cleanup because I'm not happy with him. I believe they should be enticing people to come down. That beach is key to a lot of people's success. Thousands of dollars are being lost because of the way the beach is being locked up, closed down, shut down, and stuff like that. It's just not good. Mm-hmm. So I don't clean it. I mean, I clean it when I go down. Right. I don't leave any trash. But I won't get involved in one of the big cleanups because I think it's being managed wrong.
Mm-hmm. Over the years that you've been there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, yourself, Sandifer, I don't even know who else.
There was Ralph Wade.
What other names could we say?
Ralph Wade, Jim, old Jim. I can't remember Jim's last name, bless him. There was a group. All right, funny thing. I used to drink. And I was a bad drunk. And well, I didn't think I was, but Billy did. He told me I was bad. So he come in my office one day and he brought me a little book, 24 hours a day. He said, Nick, you're an alcoholic. He said, you got to give it up. So I stopped drinking. That might have been 18, 20 years ago. And he gave me this little book. And in this little book, there was a little meditation every day. I did that for a year. But I haven't drunk since. So I owe Billy that. Now, if you went to the beach during the week, okay, you'd see Billy Sandifer down there. There'd be me. There'd be Ralph Wade. And there'd be Jim. All ex-alcoholics. Mm-hmm. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And so it's that compulsive thing that we've got in us that would take us down there fishing. That's
right.
what I always thought. But it was always lovely. You go down. I used to go down by myself. I love it. I love going down there. I go with the wife now, but I'd go down there by myself. Never had any trouble at all. Never any. Mm-hmm. You know, I've had to walk off and stuff like that, but no, never had any problems.
What do you mean you had to walk off?
Like, the last time I walked off that beach, I'd gone down there on a Wednesday, all right? So I went down into the 30s. There was a wreck I knew. Well, it was full of redfish. So I loaded up on redfish to my limit, went to drive off, and I got a flat tyre. So I changed the wheel, drove all the way home, dropped the wheel off at the tyre place, and decided to go back in the next day. I got another flat tyre.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you literally had to walk off
Oh,
the
yeah.
beach.
I was walking. Yeah.
Okay. How has it changed since then? Since the old school days
A lot.
of fishing the beach and now?
There's some weird stuff going on. One is them pufferfish turning up,
Right.
Unknown.
Another one is the vice president.
Yeah,
Right.
there you go. No, I haven't seen her on the beach.
Right?
No, so there's pufferfish, weed, red tide. If you notice, we haven't had a serious weed event in the last 4 to 5 years. We haven't had a red tide 4 to 5 years. Florida has. That's where it's going. So there's been a current change. The current has changed. It used to take 2.5 years for the current to come in the Gulf and go all the way around and back out again. For some reason, right now, red tide and weed is caused mainly by nitrates coming out of the Gulf, coming out of the Mississippi. If you look at a map of America, all the rivers that run into the Mississippi is scary. They're full of nitrates. The nitrates come down, they straighten the Mississippi, so that water's going straight into the Gulf. That's nutrient-rich water. And what it does is it produces red tide and weed growth. Now, we were plagued with it for years. But now, in the last 4 or 5 years, it seemed to have moved to Florida. They're getting it, and we ain't. So bless them.
Right. We've been going on for about 35 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm itching to give something away.
Let's do it.
Right. So 2 weeks ago, well, a little bit less than that, I had a giveaway post on the group page. It was something like tag 2 people, you know. Hopefully they weren't members already. You know, I get a lot of the guys tagging already members, you know what I mean? Which is cool, you know what I mean? And I put all y'all's names in this hat, right? Big giveaway. It's a big giveaway. TJ, I got your name in here. Mr. Hoyt, welcome to the show, man. Mr. Hoyt's also a big contributor to the giveaways we got, and we do got some of the spoons. He's got some of the jig heads are in that giveaway. All of y'all's names in here. My Mr. Meyer is gonna pick one, and y'all are keep y'all's fingers crossed, right? So someone's winning. Let's give this a shot. Here we go. Who is it gonna be?
Wait for it.
All right, let's see. Let's see. I'm excited.
Who is it?
Paco Campos. Mr. Paco Campos, you are the winner
That's awesome. Do you know what I'm really pleased
of this
about?
giveaway. What's that?
I didn't have to read that name.
Right? Right, that's true. That would have been another funny one, right? Paco Campos, slide
Congratulations,
into my DMs.
mate.
That's super important to slide into my DMs, right? I'm almost gonna make that a rule, right? To contact me, not me contact you, because there's a lot of people that just jump into the giveaways. I don't want to see the show, but I want to win still. You know what I mean? So if they don't see it, they don't win, right?
Good.
So it's super important to slide into my DMs, and we'll get this package sent out to you ASAP.
Great.
Congrats again, Paco Campos, on that win. Let's talk next about, let's see if we got any questions on the show. Good story, Mr. Nick. Justin Furman, you just left here, man. You should have came up and said hi. Said what's up. All right. If y'all are just tuning in, we're here at Roy's Bait and Tackle. We're going to continue with the show. There's quite a few people standing here watching us right now. And we're not getting dirty looks. We started the show early, right? We used to get a lot of dirty looks from the employees, and we would go all the way up to 5:30, 5:45. The shop closes at 6 o'clock, and I was like, man, I didn't want to cut it short with my guest. You know, we still had a lot of stuff to cover. So now the show is at 3. Puts us around 3, 4, 5 o'clock with an hour to spare just in case. We got a lot of stuff to give away. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the fly shop. I'm looking at the mounts on the wall. I'm looking at the sandals. I'm looking at the clothing. It's just a sight to see.
Who got them mounts?
I'm not sure. Somebody did. They're nice.
They really are beautiful.
Yeah. And even they're looking at us. Right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep on going. Where does the name This is a good question. Where does the name Breakaway come from?
That's based on the original design of that sinker with the rotating wires. So you throw it out, it's aerodynamic, it buries in. When the fish hits, the wires bend backwards and it breaks away from what's holding it. That's where the name come from
The
originally.
Breakaway.
Yeah.
Breakaway weight.
Mhm.
And we call that the spider weight.
You call
Right.
it the spider weight,
I mean,
you call
I'm
it the
sure there's a lot
Sputnik
of
and
names.
everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's basically that design was a design of Nigel Forrest. They used to have the fixed wire ones, but when people learned long distance fishing using uptide techniques, that's a technique you need to look at my YouTube. Just go on YouTube, Nick Meyer, or even go to breakawaytackleusa.com, type uptide, you should find it. I often go over it like once or twice a year on how to do it, but it does work. And you can, the mistake people mostly make when they've been using fixed wire sinkers is they throw a breakaway sinker out and then they tighten the line. Okay, that's a no-no, because all you're doing is breaking the wires out and it rolls down the beach. So what you actually do is walk towards the current. That's the direction the current is coming from. You want to go about 50, 60 yards, throw out as far as you can, and then you slack the line off and walk back to your truck or wherever you've spiked the rod. Now, what that does, I'm going to just do a quick drawing for you. You didn't know I was an artist, did you?
Nope.
So, what that does, you've cast up here. Let me just do that. So that's what I'm talking about. You've put your sinker there. The current's coming this way. Thrown out as far as you can. You slack it off and walk back to your truck. That turns the sinker into the current, all right? And it will hold as good as any out there. Then when the fish hits, what happens is the current pulls the rod tip down. When the fish hits, it'll break that out, and the rod will flick backwards and the line goes slack. Unless it's something like a bull shark, he'll run out, straight out, and you're on. But if that happens and he stops, he will then turn with the current. You know you've got him. All your job is stay in front of him. So as he starts running north, you walk sideways, keep in front of him, you'll get him.
Mm-hmm. There you go. You heard it here. It's Bull Live.
There you go.
I always bring this question up, and it's kind of a baited question, right? Ironically, it's baited. But do you have a pro team, a breakaway pro team?
Yeah.
Or don't do that kind of stuff?
There's people I support. Part of the criteria is, they need to be a 700-foot caster.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
So you support them in casting competitions or fishing?
Some I do.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, if they're really good, then I'm with them. But I've found if you've got a sponsor, period, right? You need a commitment to them,
Right.
And people don't understand that. They think they come in, get a fishing rod, and that's it, bugger off, and you never see them again.
Right.
And they've got, sponsored by Breakaway. Because of the internet and the way things have changed since I've been here, right? If a company sponsors me, whether it's with sunglasses, whatever it is, I make sure people know that I'm using that equipment and why I'm using it. People tend to miss that point. They think, I don't know what they think, but I don't really like sponsoring too many people unless they're better than I am at doing it.
Right. Yeah.
I
mean, it's a business. You know what I
Heck
mean?
yeah.
It's a business to make money.
Oh, you could give stuff away all day, I
Yeah.
promise you.
And you wouldn't make nothing.
Not a dollar.
And you spent that hard time trying to get the package onto the floor to sell.
Correct.
Right.
And I tell you what I give away is knowledge. I give free casting lessons every Saturday morning north of Packery. They bring their own equipment. I go over the techniques. If they come in the shop, I talk about the equipment that we sell and why we sell it and how it works. That to me is my gift to you.
How much are those casting lessons?
Free.
Well, they're free casting lessons north of the Packard.
North Packery, 7:30 to 8:30 every Saturday morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So you go up to the big sand bowl, and not while this is going on the
Spring break.
spring break. There
Yeah.
was a shooting there yesterday. Did you hear about
Oh,
that?
really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Apparently 3 people got shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to close down these beaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a shame. There was a fight going. It's on YouTube, I believe, or someone put it up. There was a fight going on. He pulled a gun. Apparently, the guy who did the shooting had bald head, and he was wearing one of them ankle bracelets.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it could be anyone.
Right. You really didn't narrow it down there for us, you know? Yeah. I bring that up. I bring the pro staff stuff up because I'm the lead of the pro team now here at Roy's Bait and Tackle. So what I'm doing is I'm creating this team, right? A secondary team. We have a pro team, of course, right? And I'm creating the secondary team. If you have what it takes to be on this pro team, then shoot me a message, right? Shoot me a message. Send me your fishing biography, your fishing resume, your fishing stats, right? We could call it. And we'll go through them. We'll go through them and we'll make it great. This is here first on the Spooled Life Live. I will create a post later on the media outlets and stuff. But if you've ever wanted to be part of the Roy's Bait and Tackle team, which is a huge accomplishment,
Oh yeah,
and you have what it takes to, avid media guys, and we've already discussed what, I bring it up every single time with the dealers that come through here. And we'll go from there. Y'all heard it here first, slide into my DMs and we'll go from there. Back to the show. Breakaway tackle fishing gear. We got rods. We got leaders.
terminal tackle. Yeah.
Pompano rigs,
Mm-hmm.
right? We got the
Sinkers.
the weights,
Mm-hmm.
spider weight, breakaway
Yep.
weights.
Clips.
All these,
Cannons.
right? We got a little bit
Just
of everything.
on and on and on.
Right? You could go through the whole aisle and
Mm-hmm.
and be ready,
Yep.
right? The leaders tie them on and go.
Go.
Right.
To clip them on. There's a clip. They all you do is clip on. There's a special design clip, again by Nigel Forrest, totally weedless, called a fast link, spin link, and lure link. Them links have now been copied by so many other companies, but we were the ones that invented it. So there you go. That's another good one. Them clips are awesome. Just tie that on. You need shock leaders, but you just tie that clip on. All our rigs are designed with a swivel at the end. You just clip it on.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to go.
They when you buy these leaders,
Mm-hmm.
ready to go, on the package, is there anything that tells them, okay, this is
Yeah, there's instructions.
There's the tactics or anything like that?
No, there's instructions on how to clip
Tie
it.
stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
and how to lock it down. Still some people, it's a little bit complex at first. There we go again. I was talking about when you bring something out that needs explaining, it can get really expensive. You got to spend a lot of time telling people. So I do a lot of YouTubes going over how particular rigs work for particular fish. There was a rig we brought out last year for bluefish on the East Coast called the Moore rig, mother of all rigs. It had a stainless steel piece of wire that could unclip. You'd feed it through the bait, and it was because the bluefish were biting through the rigs and they weren't able to land them. This eliminated that. It came in so handy when we were fishing for them puffer fish, because they will bite through your rig like you can't imagine. They can pop a hook. They can actually bite through a hook. They're amazing.
Oh, wow.
They've got this amazing one tooth at the top and one at the bottom. Pop. It's awesome design. I wouldn't mind carrying a pair of them in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Like a pair of pliers.
Right?
Yeah, no, they're awesome. They can cut anything.
We got a question that came in,
Mm-hmm.
a Pompano question.
That's what we specialize in. We are really good at that. Yeah.
Do pompano come back when the water temperature warms up?
Here's a weird thing, right? Normally, pompano predicts from September through to the end of December. So you want the water to be in the 70s, but it's in the fall, right? Then as that water temperature drops into the 50s, they disappear. Okay, now where they go is offshore. They go out to the rigs, and they will stay out there until the summer comes again, and then they'll start coming back in. You will like you throw your cast net for mullet in the middle of summer, you'll get a little pompano in it, and you know it's going to be a good season, all right? But the big pompano, the major push, November, December, you get out there at sun up. I can load an ice chest, there's no bullshit, in 2 hours. Now, that got found out this year, and you could go on that beach any day of the week, and there would be pompano fishing from the entrance all the way through to the high banks. It was one of the most productive fisheries I've seen. You know, it was awesome, and it just got better. So they're supposed to move off, but again, we've had something weird happen where there's some good pompano being caught right now. They shouldn't be there, but they are. The other thing I heard, there was, I believe the Coast Guards caught some fishermen with nets. They had 2,000 pompano in the net.
Wow.
That's what I heard that last week. I've not been able to check it out, but that sounds pretty mean to me.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think the freeze had anything to do with it?
The freeze was interesting because the park, what they called Texas, whatever, they brought out a rule where they changed the fishery, right, the limits. Okay. That hurt me in a way. I'll tell you why. Because there was that freeze took place, and there was a fish kill in the bays, but it wasn't out in the Gulf. All right. When we've had red tide events, where there's millions of fish killed, all right, they don't do nothing.
Right.
It's nature. So's cancer, right? I went out there and here's an interesting one for you. Question for you lot. Let's see who comes up. All right. What would you say is the most prolific species on that beach? I bet you don't get it right. All right. So I went out there, the last big fish kill, and what I did, every mile, I counted 100. We marked it off 100 yards, and I counted every fish in that 100 yards that was dead. Okay. So I could come up with a number for the whole of the national seashore of species and type and how many died. What do you think was the most prolific fish? We're talking mullet, trout, redfish. You tell me. Let's see what you come up with.
You heard it. So it wasn't mullet.
No.
Right. Something bigger.
No.
Something smaller.
Something smaller, but big enough.
Right. Catfish?
Nope.
No. Henry? No, it's not catfish. Was looking hardhead?
Nope.
Mullet? Nope.
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 Tell me when you want me to tell.
All right, we'll get plankton.
I'm sure there was a ton of that, but I didn't count them.
All right, one more. Whiting.
No.
All right, go ahead.
Sand eel.
Oh, wow.
Now, you never see them.
Yeah.
But it was like, I worked out there was like 7 million sand eels killed, and mullet would be about 5 million. So they live in the sand. Florida, right, they're very much aware of how them ling love them sand eels. We don't see them here. They're always in the sand around us, but we never see them until we get a red tide. That red tide comes in, kills them off in the shallows, and they wash up on the beach, and there's millions of them. So that was something. But anyhow, when I go out there counting them redfish, I've never seen anyone else doing it. And it sort of pisses me off in a way that our trout fishery, which was really strong like 5-6 years ago, I could go down there any night of the week and nail 3 or 4 easy on top waters. But no, that red tide killed off them residential fish that you find like from the 15 all the way to the 50. They got nailed. right? So that residential fishery disappeared, started to come back slowly now. Okay, so they're coming back, but when there was that fish kill in the bay, there's all sorts of shit goes down, but nothing happened on that beach when I was down there. That red tide don't mean nothing. To me, that red tide is devastating. It's you cannot believe how horrendous it is to go on that beach and look at 60 miles of dead fish. It's a nightmare.
So you feel the red tides was worse than the freeze?
Oh, hell
in the
yeah.
surf, at least.
Yeah, hell
Right.
yeah. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And I'm out there, and another good thing Billy Sanford taught me, you learn more on that beach than you learn a month sitting behind a desk.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
You know, where do they get these numbers from?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I agree the fish kill was bad, and I don't mind their rule that they brought in. Why they brought it in all the way down the beach, I've no idea. But it's okay. It's not going to do anyone any harm, and I'm quite happy with 3 trout.
Right.
You know, and I think that limit's okay. But it does concern me that everything in the bays gets all the attention. CCA, you know, Texas Parks and Wildlife, the beach, they couldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Right. Let's give something else away. Right. And this is an answer they should know.
Okay.
Hopefully. Right. What we got is a grind
That's nice.
terminal tackle stringer. 12-footer. World's greatest fixed float stringer. We got it right here, first person. And you know, we skipped that other one. We didn't get into the other question we were supposed to ask.
Oh,
Remember?
was that my fault?
I got another one.
Was that my fault?
Nah, I think it was mine. I
All
don't
right,
think I
okay,
asked
we
it.
share it.
Yeah. You know, we just go with the flow over here. You know, we're just here having a good time,
That's
drinking
it.
carbach, you know what I mean? And water. Right?
Yes.
First person. Mr. Meyer holds free casting lessons every Saturday. First person to tell me where at is going to win this stringer. Free casting lessons. If you're local, if you're not local, if you want to learn how to cast, right? Anything from beginners to advanced casters, you know what I mean? If you want to learn, improve your
I've got
techniques.
videos as well. Yeah, there's videos out there they can buy.
Right.
They can download them.
Oh, you can buy them off the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they just click and it downloads to their computer.
My man Freddie Garcia says North Packery.
You got it.
That's pretty close, right?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Freddie Garcia, you are the winner. Charlie Monroe says the bowl,
Yeah, the Bowl North Packery.
but Freddie Garcia was number one.
He beat him to it?
Yeah, he did. Freddie Garcia. Again, Freddie Garcia, slide into my DMs to win, right? Congratulations on that. What else we got? What else you got, Mr. Meyer?
Well,
What else you
nothing.
want to talk about?
Well, I can talk about anything.
Huh?
And you tell me what
Let's
you
talk
want.
about something good.
Okay, let's talk about,
Let's talk about a war story.
a war story.
Yeah. What's the
Yeah, I'll tell you.
craziest story
Okay,
that's happened
crazy
down the
story. We used to do training at, hang on, it was Killing Fields, Odom, just at the back of Odom. So one day we go out there, we mark the field out. Do you remember this? So we marked the field out and we were throwing 700 foot out, walk out, get the sinkers. As we walk out to get the sinkers, right, I hear a gunshot and I see a vulture do that. And I thought someone's shooting at the vultures, which happened to be above our head. Then it was worse. Bang, bang, bang. And I zip, zip, right? So then we think they're shooting at us. Okay? So we hit the deck. Dear Brenda climbed behind me. I think she got her head up my butt. So, and we'd, like it had stopped, we'd get up and run, and then it'd start again. We'd all hit the deck. We honestly thought there was a maniac hidden in the trees shooting at us.
Oh, wow.
Right? And every time we got up, he'd start shooting. So I'm out there with Brenda, and my granddad come into my mind. I was thinking, you know, he used to do this First World War shit, Second World War shit. He loved it, right? And then bullets flying over. So we're sitting there, and there's my mate screaming trying to get the attention of the person who's shooting us, saying, call the police. I had no idea where I was. How do I tell the police I'm being shot at and I ain't got a clue? As it happened, Guy Rucker comes on my phone. I'm still laying there. And he goes, you're all right? I said, no, we're being shot at. I said, there's someone shooting at us, and they've been shooting at us for about the last 15 minutes, and we can't move. Every time we get up, they start shooting again. Right, and these bullets were coming right down near us. So he said, where are they? I said, as you come on the field, right across the field, there's some trees. They're in them trees, right? Guy Rucker comes across that field, I bet you at 70 mile an hour, didn't he? He come flying across that field, through them trees, right? Now there was a guy had hung a target on the trees, and he was teaching his kid gun safety.
Wow.
And we were behind it. But that was the killing fields of Odom. So that was a pretty exciting story.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Not cool. It wasn't cool at the time.
We
for
survived.
sure, right? Yeah, that's another one of yours. That's
Yeah.
another thing you survived.
Yeah.
Gee.
That was a funny one.
Uh-huh.
But that was, man, there was a lot of, that gentleman was so apologetic. He had no idea we were behind them trees.
Uh-huh. What's next for the Breakaway Tackle Company?
We're getting, I mean, slowly we're definitely getting bigger. I mean, the game is changing, our rods are getting more acceptable. And it's just, the company is growing, and we're selling like North Carolina, which I used to sell maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 rods a year up there. I mean, I've got dealers phoning out buying 30 to 40 rods. North Carolina, big market for us. All the way up the East Coast as far as Boston, Massachusetts, you'll find Breakaway. You know, down in Florida, you find it for the pompano fishermen.
Right.
So we've specialised on working the edge. This time of year, I was always on the road. I mean, it was a pain in the ass, but it got the company known.
Right.
But now I can do it using Zoom. And that's real cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I can phone up these dealers. Them meetings, I used to have to fly like to Florida. You'd sit there for a day. You'd have an hour meeting. You had to go all the way back again. Expensive gamble. Right. But now I can do it all on Zoom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to get bigger. You watch this.
Any new items coming out?
I've got a new rod coming out. I was supposed to have already had it, but I've worked with one factory. Here's an interesting thing, in China, right, for 20 years. Right? Good mates of mine. I used to be with All Star originally.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was a gentleman named Tim Grenham. He died. Real good mate of mine. Absolute gentleman. Taught me the game. Showed me how to build rods. Just showed me the whole thing. When you see rod builders, a lot of people say, oh, I'm a rod builder. Well, they don't realise, no, a rod builder is someone who rolls graphites, knows what he's talking about, where the graphites go, types of graphites to use, right? And if you notice that, like in them casting tournaments, you'll see Ziplex, Century, Breakaway, Italicana, all European rods. You never see all these other people's rods that they say, and these ones from Australia say they're world champions.
Right.
Load of bullshit.
So they're not just breakaway tournaments.
No.
It's anything you bring.
And you got...
You just got to throw it farther than everybody else.
Yeah, and you'll find they're European-based rods.
Okay.
And our rods are designed to the European standards.
I got you.
So what the deal is, when I first come to America, they would never sell... You couldn't sell two-piece rods, all right? Because they would always have what's called an elbow. But they'd say where that joint is, it bends funny. So no one wanted to buy them. The European rods are designed around a spigot. There's no flex at that point. So the rod does not bend at that joint. Okay? So that was something we had to introduce and get people used to. Was that two-piece rods are just as good as any one-piece.
Right.
So that was a big bow. Yeah.
There is a single piece.
We
You do
do.
have single piece rods though.
Yeah. And I've got a rod that you would think was a single piece and it's not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've hit the joint in the butt section, and you can't even tell where it is. And
Oh,
I get
yeah.
people come in, they go, oh man, this is good, I like these one-piece rods. I go, really? Dunk.
Right?
So I've made the joint in the butt section. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. All right. So we've come to about an hour. An hour.
I'm
and 40
sorry,
minutes.
too much gap.
Oh no, we're not.
Okay.
We go. If I could talk to you about another 3 hours if I wanted to, right? But the questions have been submitted. You know, if we did skip over your question, we'll come back. Right, we'll come back after the show. It's been a hell of a show. I hope y'all learned a whole bunch.
I enjoyed it.
If y'all haven't held a breakaway rod, if you haven't seen the breakaway tackle, we got the whole lineup here at Roy's Bait and Tackle, right? You got anything else? You good?
Next Saturday, oh no, it's next Sunday. I'm doing Let's Talk Surf Seminar down in the valley at the Bass Pro there. So if anyone wants to come along, I'll see you down there.
When's the next tournament?
Tomorrow.
But that's from
That's
today?
finishing
Yeah.
today. Then they'll have
when's the
another
next-
one in the fall.
Is it like 4 times a year or?
3 or 4 times
Three or four
a year.
times a year.
You can go up the East Coast and they're on all the time.
Oh yeah.
And you said, do we sponsor teams? At one time, I used to have a team that used to fish the Outer Bank Championships.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd go up there. They would last a week. I mean, you'd go up on the Monday, and the way their tournaments work is pretty cool. They would move you every twice a day. So, for example, you'd pull a peg. That would be your spot. You didn't get to pick where you were going to fish. And there was hundreds of people. And they'd take a whole town over, like Ocracoke, take the whole island over. And you'd spend a week out there and you'd fish where they told you in the morning, then they'd give you another spot in the afternoon. When you caught a fish, you put a flag up, a judge would turn up, measure your fish, and it'd be released.
Okay.
It was really cool.
Right.
And phenomenal amount of people out there. I mean, you'd be competing against thousands of people. It was really good fun.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I used to sponsor a team. That was one way of
Okay.
getting the team
Like
out.
a fishing team.
Yeah, we'd go out there and fight.
Do you have any casting guys that are sponsored?
There's one guy who was there today who won a championship. I got him picked up a little bit by Talakana, who were one of our. We bring them into. They're the world record holders.
Okay.
Their rods, their current record, I think, is about 956 foot, 5
Oh,
ounces, a colossal distance. I mean, massive.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I've helped people out with that.
There's not many, right?
No.
There's not many casting tournament guys. I
No.
see some. I've spoken to a couple, but it's not like
No,
everybody's
no,
doing this
no,
thing, right?
No, but if you give a man a fishing rod, there's one thing he wants to do. Throw that further than his mate.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So it's in him.
Yeah.
Right,
I once
so-
had a casting contest with this guy named Ruben Pena, and I beat him.
Good lad.
You know, but I mean, I could cast. I mean, look at me, right?
Just-
Yeah, you said it earlier.
Yeah,
that
you could.
Just by looking at
Physically,
me. I'm
you've
an
got
800 foot guy.
800 foot carp.
You know
There
what
it
I
is, baby.
Right?
Yep, it's there. It's in you.
Right.
Hey, you guys, I really enjoyed sharing with you. And anytime, come to Roy's Bay and Tackle. It's a kick-ass shop. It's got everything you need. It's like a boat show. Catch you later, mates. Thank you.
Thank y'all for tuning in, right? Once again, the show sponsors. Go check out the show sponsors. We got Roy's Bait and Tackle, Real Sportswear, Carbach Brewery. Nice and refreshing. This is the newest thing out there. We got the
I
light.
love that design.
Yeah, it's cool. You could have that one.
Can I?
Yeah, like as a souvenir.
That's what I'm
for
going
the
to
show,
do.
You know, keep.
I'll take that as a souvenir.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We got another show. I want to say in 2 weeks is the start of the next month. We had to slide this one in. Mr. Meyer's super busy. You know, I wanted to get something good, something knowledgeable into the sport life, you know.
Well, thank you.
And we'll see y'all next time, guys. I'll shoot that flyer out as soon as possible. It's getting worked on right now. And we'll see y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for coming on the show, of
My
course.
pleasure.
You know, as
Enjoy it,
always,
man.
right? We'll keep in touch.
You bet.
We'll keep in touch with the show as well. We'll see y'all next time.